It's March Madness time, and the Auburn Tigers are set to take on the Alabama State Hornets in the first round. Let's talk about it.
The Auburn Express. You are now listening to the War Rapport Longtown Podcast with your boy Ike Jones.
Auburn versus Alabama State going down today. Hopefully, everyone is doing all right. Let's talk about this game really quickly. Um, Here on the Lobtowns, inside of the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. Today, brought to you by the good folks over at BetUS. Make sure if you are betting on today's game, you use the folks over at BetUS. Go to betustv.com to get all of the odds for all of the games and all of the markets, not just the Auburn versus Alabama State game, but any game that you want in any sport. They've got all of the information right there for you. Make sure you head over to betustv.com to get all of that in. The current lines for this game have Auburn favored by 32.5 points, which I think is a lot, honestly. I'm not sure that Auburn's going to win by that much, but Auburn should win this game. Let's get that out the way, out the gate. Auburn should win this game, right? Because Auburn is the number one seed. They have all of the depth necessary to win this game. But to think that this is going to be some sort of pushover game, I'm not. I don't have that mindset. Now, if Auburn does end up blowing them out, then great. I ain't eating no crow on Auburn blowing a team out. But what I am going to say is that this Alabama State team has enough size and athleticism to be able to compete against Auburn in this game. But the issue for me is going to be, if you listen to us talk on the midweek report, I had my girl Liv for Hoops on Twitter. She covers HBCU basketball, and she talked about it. Depth is going to be the issue for Alabama State. Do they have enough in the tank to be able to last 40 minutes against Auburn? That has been the issue for them in their Power Four competitions that they've had so far in this season. That issue has not improved as the season has gone along. So do they have the depth, particularly at guard, to be able to last the entire 40 minutes against Auburn? That's going to be the question in this game. And we will get the answer to that really quickly in this one. Against top 50 teams. Now, they've played 3 games that would be considered quad one games this season. They've not won a single one of them. In fact, the games have gone 77-59 versus Cincinnati. That was back in November. Then they played SMU, lost 101-72 back in December. And then in December as well, they played Missouri 82-65. So none of those competitions particularly close. They were in those games early, but then again, eventually, I think the depth just caught up with them. So the question that Auburn has to ask themselves is, can they stay disciplined when Alabama State goes on that initial run and they're, feeling good and all? Can you weather whatever storm comes from a tough Alabama State team as far as their ability to lock in defensively and their disciplined nature, for the most part, of not turning the ball over? This is a team who ranks in the top 20 in those Power 5 competitions in not turning the ball over. If you're seeing them versus top 50 overall on the season, this is a team in Alabama State, according to Bart Torvik, that is in the top 5 in the country in turnover percentage, right? So they don't turn the ball over a lot. No problem for Auburn. Auburn's not a team that turns you over a lot. That's not how their defense works. Their defense works to get you stifled on offense, force, poor shots, and then be able to get out in transition if necessary from that kind of stuff. So Auburn really is not a turn you over a bunch team. Neither is Alabama State, really. Like, Alabama State turns you over a decent amount, but they're not a turn you over bunch. These teams are very similar in that regard. Is they're going to rely on their athleticism to force tough shots, and they're going to play tough physical defense, and they're going to do all the things like bumping the cutter, and they're going to make it difficult for you on the post up, and they're going to hedge against screens, or they're going to switch all the actions to make it difficult for you to get into your offense. So what Auburn needs to be able to do in this game is just stay patient with their shot. Alabama State will coax you into shooting a bunch of threes in this game. They're going to try to make you a perimeter-oriented team. And if Auburn's outside shot's not working, they need to be patient to find ways to get downhill and drive and be able to find unique ways to get Janai Broom, Chaney Johnson on the move and get them catching the ball. One of the things that you'll notice in this game with this Alabama State defense and their switching zone type of things that they do, which I expect to see a lot of zone today from Alabama State, is that they are going to really try to take away the middle post, right? The high post action that most teams will get versus the zone. They're going to try to take that away. What I expect to see a lot from Auburn is really some of their traditional pick and roll style offense versus the zone to try to lift that center person out of the zone up high and then screen out of that action to either force them to have to switch a big onto a guard, and then subsequently then have a guard on a big, or they're going to have to run some back screen action to try to get that corner look, and then a dive by a big from that to try to get a post up against a player who won't have the opportunity to front the post. So I expect to see quite a bit of that from Auburn in this game to make Alabama State have to guard on the move instead of going against a static defense and just passing the ball around. Auburn is going to need to be committed to driving the basketball versus Alabama State. Now, it's not going to be an easy proposition. I've already mentioned the athleticism of this team. This Alabama State team is very athletic, and they have the ability from an athleticism standpoint to stay with the Auburn guards. Auburn guards need to be committed to being able to drive against that pressure and then find ways to facilitate in the lane, playing off of 2 feet, getting to the mid range, facilitate within the lane. That's going to be, I think, a big key to playing against this Alabama State team is don't overdrive. If you're driving into the paint to score, go in there with a mindset to score. But if you're driving with the mindset to be able to pass, I think you'll have a lot of lob opportunities from that dunker spot from Dylan Cardwell, Janai Broom, Chaney Johnson sitting down there, and you'll have some drive and kick opportunities from the way that this Alabama State team plays defense, and that's going to need to be a commitment from Auburn. As far as the other side of the ball, Auburn on defense versus this Alabama State offense. Alabama State is a team that is willing to put up 3-pointers if you will force them to do it. And so Auburn just needs to be able to live with the 3-point percentage that Alabama State's going to have. They're a mid-30s shooting team on the season, or low 30s, I should say, shooting team on the season from three. And I think that's something that you can live with. Auburn defends the three really well. And so what you want to do is just force them to shoot a lot of threes and contest, force the three and contest. This Alabama State team is a team that will settle a little bit for the three. Now, if they got the three working, they're going to continue to jack it up, but they will settle a little bit for the three. When they are dangerous, they are a downhill driving team. So that does make me wonder, are we going to see a little bit more zone out of Auburn than you're accustomed to seeing to make Alabama State have to go against a set defense and not really get into those opportunities to get the downhill drive? Now, they run a lot of what you saw versus, if you remember now, ironically, they're in Rupp Arena. What they do from a principle standpoint in their offense looks a lot like what Kentucky does as far as dribble handoffs and curl actions out of that high post from the center. So Auburn's already seen some stuff that looks like this, very Princeton style offense, what they're doing with a lot of 5-out orientation. And Auburn switches that stuff really effectively. Expect to see a lot of that switching happening versus this Alabama State team as well. But I do anticipate maybe a little bit of zone in this game if they're having any trouble staying in front of the guards, because what Alabama State will do that Kentucky doesn't do as often is just like allow guards to go one-on-one out of a spread situation. So they'll spread the floor a little bit, let guards go one-on-one, go screen action to try to see if they can switch a big, which again, Auburn has no problem switching bigs out onto guards to let them guard on the perimeter. So I expect to see a little bit of that happening in this game. And then, seeing how Auburn can effectively stop the downhill drive. Now, the two biggest factors in this game, I think, that will pop up in this are going to be the foul line. I think first and foremost, Alabama State sends teams to the foul line a lot. In fact, when you look at the free throw rate, they are one of the worst in the country at fouling. They foul a bunch. They are worse than Auburn is at fouling. So how often is Auburn going to be able to get to the free throw line? Again, I said I think that they need to be committed to the downhill drive because they will get an opportunity to go to the line. They will get an opportunity for some post-up action if they're willing to, operate out of the the mid drive, meaning driving to the middle and then subsequently getting it to the dunker, maybe doing some stuff off screen that they do already naturally with some of the offensive stuff that they do to try to get the post up there off of a screen action from what they're going to be doing from this switching zone that Alabama State plays. If Auburn can get the ball to Janai Broome in the post, he should be able to eat. The question is, how well can he shoot his free throws in this game? Because he should get opportunities at the line if he embraces the contact and the physicality in this game. He should be able to get his opportunities from the line. But the guards need to be the ones forcing the action to be able to get downhill drives and draw fouls on these Alabama State players that they are prone to do because of the physical nature of way that they try to get up into you on defense. Drive past that stuff, try to get the foul calls on that sort of thing, finishing tough around the rim. But getting to the free throw line for the Auburn guards, who are the better free throw shooters on the team, I think is going to be an imperative thing. And then on the opposite side, can Auburn defend without fouling? This Alabama State team does not shoot free throws very well, but you don't want to get in foul trouble. You want to be able to have a situation where you continue to have your advantage with your bigs on the interior, because this is a team that doesn't rebound the ball particularly well. They're an okay rebounding team, not good, not great, just okay. And these are the teams I think that Auburn matches up fairly well against. But that's the other portion of this is, can Auburn secure offensive rebounds, additional opportunities, particularly, again, if you're in a zone for Alabama State, it's hard to put bodies on guys who are being tenacious. I want to see a game where Chaney Johnson today is able to get 7+ rebounds in this game just from his activity. Chris Moore may see some activity a lot in this game just from being an active body, athletic out there, being able to switch a little bit more. You may see Auburn go to a smaller lineup where you have Chaney Johnson at the 5 sometimes in this game, just to be more athletic against the bigs out there who are tall but not necessarily the most physical. See some smaller lineups out there, particularly if you're able to get some of those taller players, the 6'11", 7-foot guys out there for Alabama State in foul trouble, then you may see Auburn even go to a small lineup to be able to match up out there with the quickness that's going to be out there on the floor and still have a physicality advantage. Would not be surprised to see that at some point in time in this game as well. And that activity, hopefully Auburn will be able to get on the boards. Again, 7+ boards from Chaney Johnson in this game, and you need to see Dylan Cardwell be the defensive anchor in this game. Verticality, challenging shots at the rim without fouling, going to be a big portion of that. And Janai Broome, double-double. Go ahead and put it down. Janai Broome needs to be able to get a double-double in this game. Alabama State has struggled with offensive-minded bigs in this season, and if Auburn can find ways to get them the ball, they're going to do everything they can, I think, to deny the post with Janai. So a lot of the action that you've seen Auburn operate with lately, because teams have decided to deny the post to Janai, is to get Janai out on the wing and get him the ball high delivery and then move everybody to the opposite side and let him operate and from the high post and get into his dribble action against those guys. Janai needs to just be patient in those instances because that double team is coming. And when the double team comes, he needs to be able to make smart decisions out of that double team. But he should be able to operate in the post. A Janai to Dylan Cardwell lob situation, Janai to Chaney lob situation. I'm on alert for those things in this game as well, because I expect to see those happening in this, and the way that Alabama State plays defense and how they're going to want to try to take Janai Broome out of this. It's going to be a lot of double teams off the dribble. As soon as he puts the ball on the floor, then we're bringing a double to get the ball out of his hands. Quick rotation of the basketball for Auburn to get it to shooters, or if they're doubling with the other big and offside from the dunker to Dylan or Chaney, be on the lookout for those things. But that's it, man. That is my quick breakdown on this game. I expect to see a good competitive game for at least 25 to 30 minutes. Those last 10 minutes of the game is where Auburn, if they have not handled business up until that point, those last 10 minutes should be an Auburn pull away situation at that point in time, just because of the depth that they have if they've taken care of business earlier in this game. That's what I expect to see in this one. We'll see how it plays out, but I want to hear your score predictions. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think is going to be the who's going to have the most points in this game. And we'll be back having a reaction to this after the game is over with. But make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be back with more great content for you guys next time. But until then, and as always, War Eagle.